this in my lifetime. So have a little patience, folks, and with some guidance and whatnot, we'll get through and be able to address these agenda items. Is there any information I'm supposed to tell them out there, Will?
No, in our other meetings we've introduced, but we got a good sized room here, and the only ones that are on the Zoom meeting are Jared from our Salt Lake office and Sue from our Salt Lake office, and Aaron Hunt is our stream measuring guy. Don Barnett is from the Bear River Commission.
Okay.
That's the only ones I see online. You see anybody else, Jared?
Looks like there's a phone call.
Oh, there's someone on the phone? Would you like to identify yourself?
This is Joe Kennedy.
Joe Kennedy.
Joe Kennedy.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Well, the first item on the agenda is the hearing of the 2020 minutes. Who has that? For that, you have that?
Yeah,
It's in the book, I imagine, isn't it?
it is.
All right. Page 3.
Page 3.
Blair Francis called the meeting to order at 2:30 p.m. and asked those in attendance to introduce themselves. Meeting of the previous annual minutes were read by Burdette Weston. Charles Rex made a motion to accept the minutes of 2019. Bart Argyle seconded, motion carried. Mr. Francis then asked for a commissioner report. Ron Hoffman gave his report summary. Is on page 2 of the 2019 report. It was a positive report given for the season. Commissioner work hours averaged for the water system on page 6A of the report for assessment. Page 7, repairs are needed for pumps on the river, repair on the splitter in Otter Creek, and Ken Weston needs a measuring device for his pivot. Bart Argyle stated Ellingford Brothers would build them a new splitter. Woodruff Creek is good. It would be nice to have a measuring device below the dam. Ken Brown made a motion to accept the report, seconded by Charles Rex, motion carried. State report given reported Ben Anderson passed away. Sue Oldkirk was introduced and is now working on the Upper Bear River system. Financial report was given, insert in the commissioner's report. Mike Ellis made a motion to accept the financial report, second by Ralph Johnson, motion carried. One delinquent report, Bill Nelson. Dan Pearce information is updated and it should go to Dan in this year's billing. Budget discussion, Ron asked to bring Brock Hoffman to help with Woodruff Creek and to help him start training on the entire system. Ralph Johnson and Charles Rex suggested Woodruff Creek put in an additional $3,000 to cover the cost of the deputy commissioner. Add a line in the budget for the deputy salary, page 5A. Mike Ellis made a motion to add changes. Charles Rex second, motion carried. New budget for 2020, $62,370. Motion to approve the budget by Mike Ellis, second Ken Brown, motion carried. Set the assessment. Charles Rex made a motion to leave the assessment the same as last year, $53,500. Second by Mike Ellis, motion carried. Snowtail report given, Trial Lake 120%, Lily Lake 129%, Hayden Fork 107%, Monte Cristo 121%, Woodruff Narrows reservoir level 50,091 acre feet, approximate spill date March 20th, 2020. Mr. Franson opened the election for election of officers, chairman and officers. Charles Rex made a motion to suspend the rules and retain the current officers. Mike Ellis second, motion carried. Mr. Francis thanks everyone for their attendance and input. Meeting adjourned at 3:50 p.m.
Now, you heard the 2020 minutes. Is there any comments, any additions? I'd entertain a motion to pass.
Make the motion, Blair.
Motion passed by Charlie. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Who was that? JR?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Ron, the hearing of the commissioners' report.
Well, I guess I'll start off by, last year was a very good water year. We had plenty of water. Just didn't have good growing season last spring. Just stayed cold all spring. So things was a little bit short as far as hay crops. But it wasn't from lack of water. We had good water in every system. Now, probably go to page 7, which is on the repairs needed in the booklet. Aaron Hunt and I need to work on Dan Peart's pump. For some reason, it's not recording. It's recording, but it isn't sending it anywhere. So, and the Hoffman pump's not recording right, and Burdett's pumps, we need to there's always a day behind. They're recording and everything, but there's always a day behind, and the same with the Enberg.
I've been a day behind my whole life.
But the McMinn Canal, we need to address that canal. It needs to be cleaned bad. And then they need to treat the weeds. That measure device just totally gets submerged bad every year. Now the canals are full of mud and that the measure device is submerged even in the spring. And that's all the repairs needed on the river system. Otter Creek system, me and Bart's been talking, and I mean, the splitter definitely needs to be repaired. And we're gonna try to get that done this spring.
Caitlin Downing said he would do it.
Yeah. So I think we're on top of that. I still like Ken Weston to put a major device on his pivot. It sure helped me out to know how much water he's actually taken. That pivot, as it goes around and goes up the hill, then he loses 2 towers. But on the bottom end, all the towers are spraying, so. And Woodruff Creek worked good up there last year. I mean, all the head gates and devices was all fixed before the water season kind of gets going and started, so. But that's kind of in their policy that everybody's got to have everything working before they can take water. Unless we get, a big flood or something, but then it's kind of tough. But I know Woodruff Creek's working on trying to get a major device below the reservoir and one below the splitters, so. Working through the NRCS office. Try to help them with some funding on that. Other than that, that's about all I have. The report, you can kind of go through every page. Your canals will all be there on your daily discharges. And everything, so. But I did put added a handout there that Sue just emailed me an hour ago on the hours spent last year in each system. And I need to talk with Sue on that. I think there's a little discrepancy on Brock's hours in Otter Creek. I don't know if Sue can hear me or not.
I can.
Yeah, you got Brock down at 68 hours in Otter Creek. And we figured he had about 8 hours in Otter Creek. And probably the other 60 needs to go onto the river on Randolph.
Okay.
Yeah. And then add the 60 onto the river, Randolph.
Does that change anything or just?
Yeah, it did change the assessments, how the assessments get sent out. Did you ever receive the account roster, Sue?
Not yet.
Cause I sent them with my booklets, and they should have been there yesterday.
I
sent
bet
them
we'll get 'em
priority- Yeah, I sent them priority mail, and they said that you'd received them.
So did you send a report to them too?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you don't receive them, I did make a copy of the assessment roll, so I can resend them or something to you.
You have anything else, Ron?
No, I don't.
You're not gonna tell us the state of the world, are you?
Yeah. I guess,
Okay, our world, anyway.
I guess you'll probably want to know what the snow tells like this year.
Not really. Yeah.
As of this morning, Trial Lake is 64%. Hayden Fork is 62%. Lily Lake is 76%. This last storm brought us up about 2% was also. And Monte Cristo is 57%. Woodruff Narrows reservoir level is 25,125. Don't know what the inflow is, it's iced up. Discharge is at 22. Bear Lake is at 5916, but that was clear back on in November, so I don't know what it is actually today.
In our previous meeting, they said it was 5916.35.
0.35. So it ain't come up a whole lot either then.
They're projecting it to go up another foot. Might be hopeful.
I was gonna say, that's pretty optimistic. You know, well, I guess we gotta kind of think positive of it. I had a couple of guys tell me, don't be too dark as make these reports. Let's look on the positive side, you know. What the good Lord will give us is what we're going to get, I'm sure, so. Is there any more on Ron's,
Any questions?
questions for Ron? Okay, the number 4 is a report of the Division of Water Rights. Who's gonna give that?
All three of us. So but I don't have anything. I don't know if Jared does. Jared shaking his head no.
I can see a shake on Mr. Shane there.
Sue, do you have anything?
It's just to thank Ron. He's been super gracious, helping me get my feet on the ground and learn how things are done. So appreciate that.
Since we started the meeting, we have one more. Is that Eric Anderson? Do you have anything to say or introduce yourself?
No, I'm just listening. Thanks, Will. Eric Anderson with Wildlife Resources.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we'll go to number 5 now, the hearing for the 2020 financial report. What page is that on?
I'm thinking on page 5.
What was that?
Do you want me to go through it?
Who has that?
I can go through it if you want me to read it.
Okay.
Beginning balance, January 1, 2020 was $37,064.42. Receipts, the assessments, 53,500. No delinquent penalties. Previous assessments and penalties, 2505.98. Transfers and adjustments, 0. Annual interest earned, $279.21. For a total receipts of $56,285.19. Expenditures, budget expenditures were 57,920.32. Unbudgeted expenditures 4865 for total expenditures of 57,968.97. With an ending balance of 35,380.64. The next page shows how those expenditures went. Looks like Ron got overpaid by a penny. Social Security was pretty close, leaving a balance of 3192. Retirement was a little over, so it's a balance over by 4864. Insurance was under, so there was a balance of 160.63, and travel expense left a balance of 2662.39. On salary for Brock, looks like there was a balance of 603.75. Social Security, there was a balance of 42.82, and insurance 12.17. Why does that show it twice?
I think what it is on the Brock General, that was for the river and Otter Creek, and then the second one is for Woodruff.
Oh, I see. So it's separate.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a balance of 401.25. On salary, 3506 on Social Security, and 1287 on insurance. Supplies and equipment, only spent 156.27, so there was 843.73 balance. And the annual report was only $200.91, so there's a balance of 99.09. So total expended was the 57.98.968.97 with a balance of 48.57.03. And then
We added that much to surplus, huh?
right. And then there are no delinquent accounts. That's a good thing. That's the report. Is there any questions about that?
Make a motion to accept it.
Okay, we have a motion accepted by Charlie. You have a second?
I'll second.
Who was that?
Bart?
Bart? Okay. Bart, are you? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, now we go to the future here. Are we reviewing any delinquent assessments?
We did that. There are none.
Oh, so we got two.
So on page 6, there's a worksheet to be able to set the new budget.
Okay. Budget salaries and other necessary expenses. I guess we can start there with, should this come before we do number, all right, who wants to take that? We're coming up to that.
Well,
I'm
gonna go from the 20 to 21 budget. I mean, we can go straight across and put it on if you're
Let's just
gonna make any change.
do that, okay. Ronald, okay, the salary, number one.
Before we do that, we gotta know who's gonna salary. Ron, are you gonna stay?
Yes, I'm gonna stay one more year.
You probably still got a contract now, don't you? we're gonna vote on that again this year.
I don't think, let's see, it comes up,
I think he's on a
I
two.
don't think it comes up till 25.
I think you're probably right there.
but I know it comes up on an even year, it's every 4 years.
Jared, do you have that information? Or Sue?
26 then.
I think of that.
I'm assuming it should come to this year.
You're showing that he needs to be reappointed this year?
Yeah. What does the agenda say on item number 3?
Recommending a water commissioner for the next term.
We jumped right over that one, didn't we? Didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the recommendation?
I recommend signing up for 5 more years.
We'll make it even here, let's go 6.
Well, the appointment's usually a 4-year term, but he can resign at any point.
Okay. So we have a motion to appoint Ron Hoffman as the commissioner for the next term. Have a second?
I'll second.
Dan, here, second. Is that okay with you, Ron?
Yeah,
You know the parameters.
I know the parameters.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're in business.
Yes.
All right, salary. How's the salary, Ron?
I'm good with that.
Okay. So there was,
Is the social security and retirement insurance can be the same this year?
Yeah, before we get on to that salary thing, what about, have you taken out social security insurance?
What I'm gonna do, what my plans are, in June, I turn 65. So under the health insurance, I'm gonna take Medicare. And what I was hoping that it's gonna cost me right around $300 a month for my supplement and the social security part of it.
Okay, then, okay, we can go on
And,
that.
yeah, what I was hoping to do is I dropped the health insurance, which you're paying about $620 a month now for my health insurance. So it'd be roughly cuts that in half. You know, once I go on Medicare.
But you need this insurance to go
Yeah,
until
till
June,
then.
right?
Till June, yeah.
You go in on the budget and change it after it's been done.
No, but we can figure that out. So,
We can just
so if you go
6 months.
February, March, April, May, June, or 4 months at the current rate and figure that out.
drop the insurance and add on
The beef part,
the cost that we were paying before.
So if it was 600 a month for the next 4 months, that's 2,400.
Yeah.
And then 300 a month for the next 8 months, that's 3,200. 32 and 24 is 5,600.
56, so it's $2,000 less than last time.
Right.
Retirement and social security be the same,
Should be.
so 19.
Sue, could you just say that? She typed a message.
The financial report is a calendar year, so it will reflect January 1st through June, whenever we stop the PEHP insurance in June.
So you're saying it's 5 months at the 600 and 7 months at the 300?
Correct. If it's June 1st.
So do the math on that. So
She didn't have it, did she have it there?
that would be 3,000 plus 2,100.
Did she have it there? No, she doesn't. She's just typing.
Did I do that wrong before?
600 times 5, 3,000.
The 7 months will probably need to move into salary.
The 7 months needs to move into salary. So take 200 off of insurance and put it into salary. 2,000 from insurance and salary. To keep it the same. That makes sense?
Yeah, when I turned 65.
So it'd be 3,000 in insurance,
So whatever last year was,
and it would add, it
we
would go
subtract 2,000.
27,955 instead of 25,000, right?
So 27,955,
Would be the salary.
and then it'd be 5,600 on the insurance. Right? So we took 2,000 from here and put it to there.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
So, no, because you were just taking the insurance from now to June, 5 months, so that's 3,000. And then you're putting another 2,000 up on the
So we're saving 7 months at $300 a month.
1,100.
Oh,
So $2,100. Go ahead, Stu.
does that look right?
So she's putting it on the spreadsheet here.
That would be giving Ron a $2,000 wage bump. Right for that.
That would give him 2,000 wage up that he can pay $300 a month.
You had the 300 still in.
No, I just put 3,000 on the insurance instead of 7,600. And then 2,000 on the wage, so it goes 27,955. If you add them,
So on the bottom, it'll take that down here at the very bottom, it'll take down the
2,100.
extra money.
So if you gotta add 2,100 to make it, so the insurance is paid, it would be 28,055.
Okay.
And then if the Social Security stays at 1951,
Well, that actually changes to 2146.
Give him more money and go up,
2146.
then he'll have to pay more taxes.
And then what does the retirement change?
Goes to 6646.
And what's the total of 3,066?
It doesn't tell me the total yet.
28, 55, 2140.
They're writing it on the spreadsheet that I'm trying to read.
You can't see it from there, I can't see it from here.
The total is 39, oh, I don't have the travel expense in yet.
So travel needs to stay at 10.
I'd say,
Okay.
they'll pay for Brock.
So that's, total of that is 49,847.
So Brock's will stay the same on this.
Well, I mean, it's up to you guys, but according to Sue, she called me and says we went over on his wages last year. By 800. And me and Brock knew he was getting close on, the hours that we'd kind of kept track of, so. I started cutting his hours back.
To clarify that,
Well, in the financial report, it shows between the two systems, it was $1,000 under.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
You have anything to say on that?
yeah, so we did not go over budget on what we paid Brock. we paid him, we were supposed to pay him $15 an hour, and we ended up paying him about $17 an hour.
How'd that happen?
Yeah.
Well, he got paid twice on 2 of the paychecks through a payroll error, and that's what it turned. So it ended up to be $847 more than it should have been. And when you divide that out over all of his work for the season, it would turn out to be about $17 an hour rather than $15 an hour.
Okay,
But still under the total budget.
but still under the total budget.
Correct.
Was his travel expenses taken out of the 10,000?
Yes, the travel line item is for Ron and Brock combined.
So do we want drops put in at the same amount as it was last year? It's evidently the social security and insurance is gonna change, huh? So we probably have to have, see what that's gonna change.
Well, it's all dependent on, I mean, this is a budget, so if it's under on social security and insurance because it shows it's under on what was paid. And so if you keep the 3,000, then the social security is still 230.
Okay.
Approximately. Same there. So it's up to you guys.
Can we run it with the same 3 and 3?
I guess, you know, I'm gonna,
No, there was 1,200 left over.
yeah, that's up to Brock, unless he wants to raise. I'm gonna break him more in on the river and stuff this coming summer.
So what we budgeted last year was to pay Brooke $15 an hour up to a maximum of $3,000. So that was what those numbers were representing last year. And then through our mistake, we ended up paying him $17 an hour, but never reached the $3,000 limit on either area. So we should probably note here, if I'm assuming, but it's good to clarify that we are still budgeting to pay him the intended $15 an hour. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's,
Well, we could do at the $17 an hour up to the 3,000. I don't know what this year is gonna be, but there's probably enough hours for this year.
yeah. To me, this year, unless things changes, it's gonna be a very nasty season, but it's gonna be a short season. Or Little Creek, I mean.
But that is a possibility of doing it at the 17 an hour. And of the maximum of the 3,000 in the one area and the 3,000 in the other area, or whatever balance it is.
Yeah, I think we can do that, don't you, Brock?
Yeah, because then like last year, you know, we were cutting back on hours to like stay
We
under that
thought we were
budget.
getting close to the 6,000, so we started cutting him back.
How does that sound, gentlemen? You got any comments on that?
I hate to not give anybody a raise, but if they're comfortable with what they're making, they'll say. I just kind of like to give the employees a
Like y'all work for you, Wallace?
little bit of an incentive. You already do, I just don't pay you. Thanks enough.
Well, if it's by going to the 17, does that constitute a raise, Wally?
I think, because they were good, they were under the 3,000.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like you just said, I think they went to 17 an hour. And steady at $3,000.
Yeah.
But it's gonna, Ron says he's gonna use it more in the Bear River. He's gonna put in more hours, so we're gonna reach the 3,000.
Yeah, he's gotta learn the route, so it's gonna put a few more hours on it.
He's gonna reach the 3,000 a lot quicker than he did last year. He wants to give him more work to do.
Yeah, no, that's all we do.
Well, obviously, it needs to be whatever it'll take to do the job, you're right there.
And I, where I'm in breaking more in on the general part there, on the river and Otter Creek. I might ought to bump that to 4, because Winter Creek probably ain't gonna change. I mean, it might be a short season, but it'll be a long, drawn out season. So it's the hours far as the Winter Creek probably won't change a whole lot. A little. The radio on the tail end cut him, sent him home from it. I knew we was getting close to the 6,000 and I thought we was. That's kind of my feelings of it.
Well, we have a motion somewhere.
Bump the general to 4 and leave Woodruff at 3.
Make that motion. Gain a little money for the right place
Yeah.
with lawns.
So your motion is to go to 4 on the general,
Yeah.
and 3 on the Woodruff, at 17 an hour.
Same, we've already got lawns taken care of.
Yeah. There's a motion, we have a second.
I'll second it.
Wally? Wally seconded it. All in favor? Aye. So I guess that takes us right down to, so you have to do the numbers on
That's
this.
gonna change the social security a little on that.
Yeah, it'll automatically do it on their spreadsheet here.
You have some magic here.
So now you need to go to supplies and equipment.
Yep.
We gotta do that before we can finalize the budget.
The Woodruff Creek will stay the same, right, with the 3,000, and then it'll stay 230 and 30.
Mhm.
Supplies and equipment, that lawn's always gonna stay the same.
And, I like to leave it at 1,000 in case I have to buy a radio,
Okay.
or something, so that's about what a radio costs. Like this year, we only had Aaron come over and had to buy some batteries and stuff, other than that.
State engineer,
State engineer's assessment is 4,093.
Total,
That's at line 13.
4,093.
Report the same, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this year it only cost me 190 for books.
300, then we just keep rotating it.
Yeah,
So 300.
I'd leave that at 300 and give you a little money.
Okay, let me read through this now.
Can I ask a question first?
Go ahead.
What's the state engineer assessment based on?
It's based on, Jared, what's the state engineer's assessment based on?
It's based on 7.5% of the previous year's expenditures.
Whose expenses? Our expenses?
Yeah.
The total system expenses.
That's right.
Basically, it's to do all the paperwork.
So take me to the top of the spreadsheet and I'll run them through them. They can't see it. So this is the line by line. Ron's salary is 28,055. The social security on that is 2146. The retirement is 6646. Travel, no. Insurance is 3,000. The travel expense is 10,000. The general for Brock is 4,000. The social security based on that is 306. Insurance is 30. For the Woodruff, its salary is 3,000. The social security is 230. The insurance is 30. Supplies and equipment is 1,000. The state engineer's assessment is 4,093, and the annual report is 300, for a grand total of 62,836.
$10 different than last year.
That's not bad.
No?
Don't make a motion to accept the budget as proposed.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
Lucy seconded it. All in favor? Aye.
What do you want to set the assessment at?
Yep.
That's the budget.
Last year's assessment was at 58 something. wasn't it?
It was 53,500. 53,500.
Which I think we gotta carry so much over, don't we?
But you're carrying over 35,000,
380.
so you're over 50% overage already. We like to keep
53,500.
What you like us to maintain?
a third.
So I think it'd be all right, do the same. We did that last year. I think, set the watches.
We did add back in 3,000 this year. How much, what was that number? For that?
The 53,500.
Is there a motion on 53,500?
Can we do that one?
No, not yet.
This is set the assessment.
This is setting the assessment for next year. It's the same as last year.
I'm motion we accept it, please.
Okay, got a motion from Danny? And a second?
Second.
Can't see for the light.
Russ, that you?
Russell Hatch.
Okay, Russell Hatch. Thanks, Russell. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 9, selecting distribution system chairman and committee members if necessary. I've been doing this a long time. You gotta start moving up in some youth, younger ones. Who is our officers right now? Besides me.
Ralph.
It looks like you've got Bart Argyle representing Otter Creek, Blair Francis representing Bear River Canal, Burdette Weston as the secretary, Charles Rex from Bear River, Ralph Johnson, and Wes Tingy from Woodruff Creek.
Obviously, we gotta fill Woodruff's.
Ralph, who was before Ralph?
Johnny. Yeah, we need to switch west. I'll see, I guess.
Oh, so you're the president?
Yeah.
Okay. And he automatically goes in, and that's what Wes said, that the president was the representative. I'd just like to throw something out here. Blair says he wants to back up a little, but, I think we need to get somebody to go with him a time or two to these Upper Bear River meetings. Like at the state, when he goes to them, I don't know whether he still go or not, Blair.
To the Bear River Commission.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have an alternate for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, Norm's the alternate. He's been going for years. Yeah. I don't know how much longer I don't know how much longer I get left on my term. For 3 years, but I'm still on it right now.
and they looked up on
That's over in.
That's a separate deal with
That's
the
water
commissioners.
rights. That's over in water rights.
Oh.
I mean, water resources.
yeah.
Now, who's the first vice president?
Let's see, you got
Blair's the chairman.
Blair's the chairman. Charlie's a third vice president, aren't you?
I think so.
First one, and Ralph's the second one? Or is there just one vice president?
I think Ralph was the second, and I was the secretary, and Bart was over audit, right, brother?
Yeah.
I think that's the way it is.
Well, it's not an exciting job, gentlemen.
Would you not stay for one more year till we get this bad summer over?
Tell you what, I'll stay for this year here, and then, but let's be thinking about the transition, if that's what you guys want. I'll do that.
I'll make a motion, then we leave this chairman the same for this coming year.
There's a second to that.
I'll second.
Mark, okay, thanks, Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
We got a roll, I was gonna say, we probably ought to, I should have introduced all you guys, we all know each other, so. The roll's in there, so I guess that would suffice. Well, it's gonna be, I think, an interesting year. I think the idea is to have patience and do the best we can. We've been in this situation before. I was thinking back, I think it was back in about 76 or 7, something like that. And we had a winter like this, and we come and we only had about 20,000 in the 20,000 in the reservoir. And we irrigated for 2 weeks, I think, and that was about it.
I don't think you had that much in the reservoir, because they drained it.
So was that what we did, worked on the spillway?
They drained it, and it's poisoned the fish.
And we ended up with about a 30%. This year's been kind of interesting. I've never seen, I'm not a native, obviously, but I've been here for 60 years. But I haven't seen so many cloudless days. This is what's kind of impressed me. Even back then, I think we had some clouds coming. And it's a different type of presentation, you know, for moisture. But this too shall pass, gentlemen. And we got some good people here in the valley, and we got all we need to do is just have some patience and do the very best we can. And then we'll see what happens, you know, for the future. Is there any other business that needs to be brought up today?
Do you guys want to report on what Weather Creek's doing with our project? Or not?
Sure.
Yeah.
Want to give it? You get we've been approved for some funding through the PL 566 funds through the NRCS to do an environmental impact study and a 1/3 construction design to enlarge the reservoir or do something with the Woodruff Creek Reservoir. We're not sure what that's going to entail. That's what the study will determine. Whether we can, first of all, afford to do anything. Second will be, we've reapplied for 5,400 acre feet of storage, increase the size. We'll have to determine if we can build it in the same spot, enlarge the one that's there. If we'll have to find another offsite, reach that one and build it offsite. So there's a lot of things will be answered in the next 2 years with that study, but we're pretty positive that if we can work with DWR, dam safety, might want to put some money, some funding into it. Because we know at some point in time that structure will not meet state guidelines and have to be fixed. So we're thinking this might be our chance to maybe work through that. We're just in the process of signing an MOU with Rich County. They'll be a co-sponsor of that. All the funding will go through the county. And we're probably about 2 or 3 weeks away from signing a contract with NRCS to hire an engineering firm to go forward with that. So.
What about your pipeline?
It's done.
It's done.
Yep, it's all over with. It was voted down in the, a few months ago.
But the main things we're looking at right now is to automate. If we don't do anything with the storage of the current reservoir, we'll probably have to change the spillway at minimum to bring it up to standard at some point. We'd like to automate the outlet, get a measuring device below the reservoir. There's 5 main diversions in the creek that need to be upgraded. They're pretty costly, and then the splitter, we're going to do a major redo of the splitter that will be in this design. So if we don't do the storage, we'll at least get at least 5 structures and the diversion taken care of. It might be a 75% cost share, but right now they're paying 100% of everything. So we just have to pay a small fee to retain a firm to get it started. I'm excited about going forward with it, and we're kind of scared of going forward with it. Careful what gas where we might get it.
Well, it'll be a good challenge, everyone. You've had challenges before.
Finding out being a secretary takes a little bit more time than I thought it was.
The one thing about being secretary, you pretty well know what's going on.
Yeah, and sometimes I share with the board too. Not always, they don't even know everything.
I'll bet. Okay, is there anything else? We have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
Dan?
What about, yeah, Dan, what about you, the announcement stuff? You want to bring that up?
Yeah, I didn't know where.
About Space Battle?
As you know, or most of you probably know, I bought Bill Nelson's place up there, and so I inherited a few things that I'm not sure about, and some of them I'm not that excited about, like the assessments to this group right here. The way I feel, but if they ought to do the whole system rather than just one individual, or let the system take care of me. I look at that one breakdown on hours. Nelson's 1%. I think my assessment was about $2,600 or something like that. You know, Will?
I don't know what that is. But it's based on a 5-year running average or something like that. And so as your hours come down, your assessment's gonna come down. And so it'll be less this year than it was last year.
But I really feel that the system, either need to do the whole system or just probably do none of us, let the system take care of it.
Right, you're saying Randolph Irrigation do the whole thing? Or,
Yeah, I mean, Ben gives me the water in the summer, why can't he give it to me in the spring? And I guess he's the water master for the system. And nothing against Ron's been great to work with, but, I don't know that we need to do that.
Isn't there a state statute where that's regulated by the different from the irrigation companies are?
No. I guess, I mean, that's a good question. And, you know, probably better than a lot of us that, his place used to take a lot of hours.
Yeah,
And so and it's better now. And so, like I say, your costs are gonna come down. If you wanna propose, to not be on the system, or whatever, you need to make your case, I guess. And one of the things that has to happen is, we've been working through the proofs on those reservoirs. And in addition to that, there's also an exchange. It was kind of a unfiled exchange for a lot of years. And there were distribution orders that were trying to make things work so that people would get along. And so now, part of the resolution of that is there is a filed exchange, okay? And it's been advertised and it's ready for a decision to be made. And part of that decision could address whether or not it needs to be on a distribution system.
its own distribution system instead of part of the Randolph Irrigation or the Little Creek Reservoir Company.
Well, and interestingly enough, I mean, Little Creek and Randolph Irrigation aren't on a distribution system like Otter Creek or Woodruff Creek. And so, you're right, it needs to be addressed. And I don't know where it'll go from there. But I would like to have, and Jared's on this, Jared's listening, I'm sure. But I think that the way things are getting along good now, we can write a new distribution order and address this.
Okay.
And I think so there's the proofs, there's the distribution orders that are out there that need to be rewriting. There's the approval on the exchange to make it all legal and bring it under state authority. And so it's kind of a package deal that we need to work on.
And I just work with you guys on that, or who do I work with?
Yeah, well, you have been working with us on the proofs, and I've got the exchange out there, but I want to not just do a piecemeal, I need to wrap it all up. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do.
And not that, like I said, not that I have anything against Ron or even this Upper Bear River distribution system meeting. But I can come here from my pump down there, so I'd still be involved.
Right.
So I get a question. Is Big Creek, Little Creek, are they not natural flow water into the Bear River other than irrigating?
They are part of the Bear River Compact.
Yeah. So them waters are supposed to go to the river except during irrigation time, right?
Well, what's their priority? Is it as good as the river or not? Or better?
I'm asking you guys, you know more about that too.
We usually have distribution systems on creeks that need it. Okay, and so this is a good question, and I've actually had the same question where Woodruff Creek is really all Woodruff Irrigating Company, and so potentially you don't need state involvement if you can work it out. Otter Creek's the same way. And yet, for some reason over the years, they've wanted state involvement to distribute water. And on Bill Nielsen's place, we needed something to go, everybody understands that. So that's why it was included. Meadowville used to be a real headache. And yet now they're getting along fine and they're kind of inactive as far as the distribution system. So that can happen on these other creeks.
So what you're saying is if we get along, Otter Creek or Woodruff Creek or any of them, then they can get out of this distribution system.
I think so.
If they get along.
If they got their own water master and it's just one water right. But I think on Otter Creek, there's some private, or maybe there's two entities that are private. And so that's where it's not all under one water master.
One water.
Yeah. So when you get a mix of different rights, that's when you need a distribution system. And yet the involvement of the state can be less. This exchange, I think, needs to be under the state direction just to make sure that it's being met. And so, but it doesn't have to take a lot of hours. And so that's what we'll hopefully address in this distribution order and the order acting on that exchange that's been filed.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
You have a motion to adjourn on the table. Waiting for
still
a
gonna have
second.
that, okay.
Moved and seconded.
All in favor?
Who seconded? Really? No.
Yeah. Thanks for wearing your mask, guys. I know it's a pain, but